woke up, told myself to push and never stop. I've been stressed out.
Hey guys, welcome back into another Warframe video, and today I'm going to show you guys my Equinox Prime builds. She is a super flexible and very versatile Warframe. You can also have many playstyles for Equinox. You can be offensive, supportive, or even defensive. Today in this video, I'm going to show you guys 3 builds. The first one being a Maim or a DPS build, the second one is a crowd control or a sleep build, and the third one will be a build specifically for the index. Not only that, I will also walk through her abilities because till this day, there are some people who don't really understand all 7 abilities of Equinox. As usual, if you want to skip to different sections of the video, you can check the timestamps displayed on your screen right now. This is also going to be a really long video, so take your time, sit back and relax and just enjoy the video. Alright, so let's go through her abilities. First of all, let's talk about her passive. It is just the same as the mod called Equilibrium. When you pick up energy orbs, you will get health. Of course, the health that you get is 10% of the energy orb that you just picked up, and vice versa. And now let's go through her first ability, which is called Metamorphosis. So what this ability does is that it will switch forms. Equinox has 2 forms or 2 modes if you prefer, which is day and night form. Between these 2 forms, you will get different sets of abilities, and also you will get different increases in stats. Like in night mode, you will get extra armor and shields, while in day mode you will get extra damage bonus and also a speed bonus. This is why Equinox is such a versatile Warframe. Pressing 1 will basically switch your skill set, and to effectively play in different forms, you need to change your playstyle as well. So yeah, enough of that, let's get on to the second ability. And this second ability is Rest and Rage. Rest belongs to night form and Rage belongs to day form. What Rest does is that it puts enemies to sleep, that's pretty much it. They also have this wake up health threshold, which basically means if their health passes a certain limit or a certain point, they will wake up from their sleep. So that means if you don't deal too much damage to the enemies while they are asleep, you won't wake them up, and this indirectly means you are not going to break your stealth kill affinity bonus that easily. Whereas Rage will put a debuff on enemies, it makes them run faster and also they will take more damage. And this ability works just like Molecular Prime, but instead it has this damage vulnerability. So if you use this alongside with Nova's Molecular Prime, it will work even better, and also enemies will run even faster. Of course, if we are using the build for this. But again, the 3 builds I'm featuring in this video is not going to be specialized or focused on this ability. Next, we have Pacify and Provoke. Pacify belongs to night form and Provoke belongs to day mode. What Pacify does is that it will give you damage reduction to you and your teammates. And for each enemy within the radius of this ability, you will get a certain amount of energy drain. Of course, you can counter this using Generic or Arcane Energize. To me, I rarely see people use Pacify. Most of them would just use Provoke. What does Provoke do? It basically increases the power strength of you and your nearby teammates. And every time you or your teammates cast an ability, it will take away some energy. If you have a peaceful provocation build, this Warframe can become a crazy team buffer. It will make Chroma even more tankier, deal more damage. It can make any other Warframes that needs more power strength to be, well, extra strong. And also, if you use this ability with Nidus, you will get a crazy power strength buff. But the depressing thing is, nobody even plays this build anyway. I'd rather play this build with my own clanmates or something, but when it comes to public missions, I don't think I'm gonna bring this build in, nor any other player in this community. Maybe a few, but it's gonna be quite rare. And if you're bringing a build that is focused on this ability, while you have a Speed Nova on your team, you will basically, well, just counteract her Molecular Prime. And finally, we have the star of the show, Mend Maim. This is the most important ability of Equinox, because it is the main supportive and the main offensive ability. Mend belongs to night form and Maim belongs to day form. And do note, these 2 abilities have the same mechanism, or mechanics if you will say. You kill an enemy, it converts their HP into stored energy. And when you recast this ability again, it will release all that stored energy to either heal, which is what Mend does, or to deal damage towards enemies, which is what Maim does. Maim has one extra thing compared to Mend. When enemies come in contact with Maim for the first time, they will be subjected to guaranteed slash damage. And the modding part of this ability is kinda weird. Usually we will put a lot of power strength to make an ability kill enemies more effectively. In other words, the more power strength you have, the more damage it will deal. That is the case for Maim. However, for the conversion of hit points, the part where you kill an enemy and then their HP will be converted into energy, it doesn't work that way apparently. No matter how much power strength you have, the conversion will be the same, 75%. So that means you can run a really low power strength build while still be able to kill enemies and nuking wherever you go. But the saddest thing about this ability is that it doesn't work well against heavily armored enemies. See it for yourself. I'm charging this up to 1 million damage and I'm still not able to kill this level 100 heavy gunner. So that means if you want to use this ability, better use it on infested enemies or corpus. Maybe low level Grenier missions, but definitely you can't bring this into sorties, especially Grenier. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the abilities. Now let's go over to the builds. First of all, I want to cover her main build, which is also called the DPS crowd control nuking build blah blah blah. In order to save time, I will explain everything briefly. I will also merge some points together and I will explain based on the benefits that are common between different mods. So let me remind you again, this build is only focused on Dayform's Maim ability. We have range mods here, which is Overextended, Cunning Drift, Auger Reach and Stretch. All 4 range mods of the game will give you maximum of 280% power strength. It is very beneficial for Maim because you are able to cover a really large area. And that is pretty much the whole point of this build. Next, we have Duration and Efficiency mods. We have Prime Continuity, Rank 3 Fleeting Expertise and Streamline. You will use lesser overall energy and that means you have lesser energy drain. You are probably going to keep Maim activated for a really long time before you turn it off and releasing all that damage you have kept in, and this indirectly means you are able to deal more damage because you have a lot of time to store a lot of energy. You even have the leisure of time to wait for enemies to spawn and then just wait for a big group of enemies to spawn, press 4 again and then boom, everyone just dies. Some of you might be asking, why rank 3 fleeting expertise? It's just to reduce the negative effects of this mod. If you use a max rank fleeting expertise, you will reduce too much power duration in your build. So it's more better to use the rank 3 version of this mod and also a max rank streamline. We have Vitality for survivability and finally we have Intensify, which is optional. You can swap this out for other mods if you want, but I recommend to keep this on. Since we have Overextended in this build, which reduces a lot of power strength, and that means you will be losing a lot of initial slash damage from Maim. Of course, I'm talking about when enemies come into contact with Maim for the first time. So how do you utilize this build? Go into a mission, switch to Dayform unless you're already in it, cast 3 and 4, run around, kill some enemies and then you store some damage because you kill some enemies and converts their HP and blah blah blah, and then you want to wait for a perfect opportunity to release all that energy. For example, when you see a big group of enemies or if you realize there's too many enemies behind cover, use this ability. A level 40 enemy, Grenier or not, usually you would only need around 10 to 30k of damage. And as I mentioned before, Maim is not effective against armor, which is useless against heavy armors, bombards and all these heavily armored enemies. Unless you charge it up to like few million and above, then it could probably work. I'm not sure, not everyone has the time to charge up that much damage. So why not just pull out another weapon to kill the enemy that you couldn't kill with Maim? A much more easier way, right? So now let's move over to the Oyasumi build, which is the sleep build or the crowd control build. This is only focused on Nightform's rest ability. All 4 range mods from previous build is still here, but there's another reason for slapping these many range mods. It's because I needed to counter the negative range from narrow-minded. Also because 200% range and above is highly recommended for this kind of build. It works super effectively when you can cover a lot of area, and that means you can be totally safe because enemies are all asleep. Unless the nullifier bubble screws up everything. Another thing you notice is that there is a lot more duration mods compared to the previous one. We have Prime Continuity, Constitution, and as aforementioned, Narrow-minded. This gives you a lot of time to deal with enemies as they will be asleep for a longer period of time. If you're a fast player, consider swapping Narrow-minded for other mods. And again, it's not recommended to do so because better safe than sorry. How do you utilize this build? I'm not going to explain. Check out the level up your gear fast video I've made. Link is in the description below. You're probably going to ask, why is the like-dislike ratio so bad? I don't know, just leave some feedback, then I can know. Do that in the comment sections of that video, please. And finally, we have the Duality build. I think the pronunciation Nazis are coming after me. Anyway, jokes aside, this build is specifically for the index. For this build, you may need an extra FORMA. You can add one more Neramon slot, which is the minus symbol. One key difference between this build and the two other builds I've been showing you is that this one has a lot of power duration. Not only we have the 3 power duration mods here, we also have an extra mod which is Augur Message. And with this mod present in the build, we get a whopping amount of 269 power duration. Of course, if your mod is max rank, then you won't get these numbers of wisdom. So what all this does is that makes Duality last more longer. Duality is an augment made for Metamorphosis. It spawns a clone or a spectre of yourself, and the form it takes is the opposite of yours. If you are day, then your spectre will be night. Yin and yang. Also, your clone will deal 300% more damage. Adding more power strength will not benefit you extra damage from Duality, but the reason why I added Intensify in this build is just to give you guys, as in my teammates, a slight power strength buff, also to use Rage against tough enemies. Rush is a random mod I decided to put in, but of course you can swap it out with other Excellus mods. Here's how this build performs against heavy gunners. Some of you can already tell from the gameplay, if you use a sniper rifle with this build, it is definitely OP. It's like an aimbot with you. So now, finally we have the Arcane section. I recommend Arcane Energize to every single build in here. It defeats energy problems and you don't have to use Xeneric too often. And for Arcane Trickery, every time you stealth kill an enemy, you will have a chance to become invisible. And this is useful for your sleep build. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you everyone for watching this. If you guys found this video informative, then be sure to leave a like, write a nice comment, and please consider subscribing. If you guys want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can check out my Ko-fi page in the link in the description below. Thank you for watching once again, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Goodbye.